Live from the Score Atlanta television studios in North Atlanta, this is Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Georgia High School Sports Daily. I'm your host, Craig Sager. Today we're going to be joined by Nichole Wilkins. In the first segment for our Fast Break headlines, we will have Newton head girls basketball coach Jawan Bailey on the show in segment 2 to talk about the 6A state championships. We'll also be joined by 2 state championship winning coaches. We will have Nichole Dixon of Holy Innocents. We'll have Jon-Michael Nickerson of Sandy Creek, and then we will have the Houston County Sharks head basketball coach Jeffrey Martin on. Packed show. Let's go ahead and welcome Nichole Wilkins on to get started. How's it going, Nichole?
It's going good, man. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. All right, so let's start off just North Oconee's win over Pace Academy. When you look at what they've done the last 2 years, just in basketball, I mean, every sport, they've been phenomenal. But beating Holy Innocents last year, a team that just won the state title this year, and then Pace Academy, one of the best programs, teams in the state, how impressed are you just with the last 2 championship runs that the Titans have had?
Yeah, it's been very impressive. I mean, when you talk about not just basketball, their football team also won their first ever state championship. And Craig, you've been high on the North Oconee program for years now. And you said you believe they were the next Buford. And they're beginning to show how good of a program they are, not just in football and basketball, but in almost every sport, right? They're always competitive and they're winning at a high level. But basketball-wise, when you go and beat a team and a talent like a Caleb Wilson, who's going off to North Carolina, last year, and then you followed up this year when you weren't favored in this game. A lot of people were going with Pace, myself included. And when you're able to pull off a win like that and, win in double digits and be able to hold off a Pace Academy team that's very deep and loaded, it speaks to the great players they have. Bank Portier, Thrasher Wilkins, Blake Bronco, like guys that get overlooked a lot, but stepped up in a big way in that game and really helped them pull it away. And I also want to say this, Craig, Justin Wise is something special. I mean, you go and look at that game, his elite shot making, I think he's ranked like the 3rd highest player in the state of Georgia. He definitely deserves to get a bump up. I will put him right there in that same combo with Nasir Anderson and Kevin Savage. I mean, his ability, because they were trailing that game. Pace had him early, and his elite shot making got them back in the game, and they had no answers for him on both sides of the floor.
Let's talk real quick, just the coaching job that Rick Rasmussen's been able to do with that program. I mean, where does he sort of rank now, just in coaches that have taken programs that hadn't won state titles before to be able to do it? Not many programs go back-to-back. Yeah,
he's a top coach. He's one of the best in the state. I mean, you look at him, you look at, obviously, Sandy Creek basketball coach we're going to have on later, Jon-Michael Nickerson. He's in that conversation. Sharman White, obviously, in that conversation. Coach Mack of Norcross in the Blue Devils in that conversation. But he's one of the top coaches. I mean, what he's done, a program that's not really known for basketball, but getting them to that high level and having kids, not even high end, just being able to play at a high end level just says a lot about what he's been able to do. And going up against another coaching great and beating that coaching great in Sharman White, it just says how phenomenal of a coach he is.
Yeah, and they were so fun to watch also. And then I want to know if you noticed this, because we've watched about half the game so far. It seemed like the touch that North Oconee's players had when they would drive to the lane, it's like, okay, maybe this one's going to go off the rim. And they just all went down. They all just had this, like, I mean, you don't usually see that. It's like I've watched a lot of these high school games. They have like a special type of control in the lane, the touch. It was pretty incredible, some of the shots they were getting to roll in.
Yeah, I mean, I think about how unorthodox it was as well. Like some of the shots were faders, some of the shots were floaters, and we know sometimes it can be a little difficult to play at making central plays, but they made it look so easy, like it was any regular gym. And as you said, the touch, their ability to be able to put enough spin on the ball where it doesn't go over the rim, where it bounces out, but just enough to hit the back of the net, just shows their practice that they're doing and just the program they have.
Yeah, it was such a fun game to watch. So just wanted to start off the show congratulating them. Let's get into the headlines because we'll have time to recap the rest of the games later. I want to start with this story. Support pours in for Woodstock runner. His name is Xander Guranzwa. I believe that's how you pronounce it, after a hospitalization over the weekend. This is a pretty crazy story. He's a freshman long-distance runner. They were at the meet. You see the helicopter right there as he was airlifted. So according to, looks like his family, and then a statement by the Woodstock Cross Country social media page says, "This is the view of the life flight helicopter that took one of our own after he was hit in the head with a discus. Apparently hit him in the back of the head." Something that we don't see happen often, but obviously these meets have a lot of teams going on, a lot of events going on at once. He immediately underwent a surgery last night, and according to the page, he's now stable and alert. says, please keep Xander and his family in your thoughts as they work through what will likely be a long recovery. There was a GoFundMe set up to help the medical costs. That goal was set at $25,000. As of yesterday, when we posted the story on ScoreATL.com, it had over 160 donations, surpassing over $7,500. The track and field community continues to rally support for Xander. This story is kind of just starting to hit the mainstream, so that will be certainly something to watch. We obviously wish him the best, but just such a horrible situation. You're a freshman, you got your whole varsity career ahead of you, and then just a freak accident like that happens.
Yeah, it's insane to think about. I mean, you don't really hear, you don't really hear that often happen in a player. So just wishing him well, obviously in our prayers, and hopefully he has a full recovery, can get back on the track hopefully soon.
Yep, and that's obviously a very dangerous situation. Looks like everyone reacted very quickly, though. Hopefully that ends up paying off for them. All right, so let's talk about this wild baseball game. I was going over the stats with Najee yesterday. Baseball fans might not believe this, but this is Walker's win over Mount Pisgah. It was an 11-7 victory. Here's the stat I want to talk about. Walker in this game stole 12 bases, and they stole home plate 4 times. I don't think I've ever seen a baseball team steal home 4 times in a game, let alone a season. But here we go. Jonathan Griggs hit a 3-run homer and reached base on all 4 plate appearances. He led them to that 11-7 win. After opening the season with 9 straight games on the road against higher classifications, we're starting to see Walker get into their Class A Division I schedule. This was the region opener. They were actually down 6-2 heading into the bottom of the third. Their coach, Derek Williams, talked about the slow start, but the one thing he's been preaching to his team all season long, he wants them to stay locked in. And that's what you saw with their exceptional base running. After Brendan Finger started a 4-run rally with a single, Grant Addison reached first on an error, which sent Finger to third. Griggs followed it with his home run over the right field wall to bring them within 1 run. Jensen Cowan and Travis Tatum reached on errors, and then Lipscomb came around to tie the game. In the 5th, Tyler Fallman walked and then stole second, stole third, and stole home to give Walker the lead. Jackson Rahman reached first on a bunt and stole second when Fallman stole home before Raymond came home on a double by Tatum to go up 8-6. And then Zach Nagel drew a walk and was brought home when Addison hit an inside the park home run. So just a crazy game, unbelievable base running. Had to have been very exciting for everyone involved, but just want to say, watch out for Walker. Don't pay attention to their record. And man, they've got some fast base runners on that team.
Yeah, Craig, real quick, whenever you have that, I mean, you could be struggling in the game, but if you got guys that can get on base and you could just hit one single hit, I mean, that can be the things come playoff time that can potentially make you dangerous.
Yeah, and obviously a big wake-up call for Mount Pisgah and that defense. All right. Here's another result on the baseball field. This is Wheeler. They cruised past Osborne, used a big first inning to do so, put up 7 runs in that first, en route to a 15-5 win over the Cardinals on Wednesday. Chase Greenwood went 3 for 4 with a double and drove in 2 runs. Jaden Carroll and Owen Carlson each double with 2 RBIs, and then Kenrick Nair and Austin Treadwell each added a hit and 2 RBIs. Vincent Alabi pitched 4 innings to earn the win for Wheeler. Miles Hosterman and Jaden Hall each went 2 for 3. And then for Osborne, Wes Tilson and Chris Blunt each finished with a hit and 2 RBIs for Osborne. Osborne is now 4-8 after their loss. They're going to travel to Kennesaw Mountain tonight. And then Wheeler will host Cristo Rey Atlanta tonight. And they are 2-8 now, trying to get things going. But that was a big region win for them.
Yes, it was. All right, guys. Headline 4, Greater Atlanta Christian hires former Meadow Creek head football coach Todd Walford. Walford stepped down as Meadow Creek's head football coach after the 2024 season with plans to retire from Gwinnett County Public Schools at the end of this school year. His 29th in education, 18th as a football coach in the GCPS system. In his new off-field role, Wolford will work to place GAC athletes at all levels of collegiate competition. His duties will include promoting, advising, and navigating GAC student athletes and their families through the ever-evolving college recruiting landscape. As a football coach, Walford has worked at Peachtree Ridge, Collins Hill, Central Gwinnett, Gainesville, and Meadow Creek. Walford spent the past 3 seasons as Meadow Creek head football coach, taking his first team to a 7-4 record in state playoffs in 2022. Meadow Creek was 2-8 in 2023, and then the thin team was ravaged by injuries last season, resulting in the 0-10 record. But obviously, he's a staple here in Gwinnett County. He's obviously coached great players like Sam Horn, Obviously, Travis Hunter at Collins Hill before he ended up going to Meadow Creek. But obviously a great coach. And I think it's great that GAC is obviously not just prioritizing football here, but also their other student athletes to help them as we continue to see the ever-changing college football or just college landscape in general in all sports.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, GAC, they were in the rankings this last year. I feel like they have a chance in that Class A through 3A private division, especially see some of the new coaching turnovers. I think offensively they can use that boost. A guy like Coach Wofford can come in there and help boost them because they did have a tough run. I think they lost to Pickens for maybe the first time in their history this last year. Had a tough season, but certainly Coach Wofford, he brings tremendous energy. He likes that fast-paced, high-tempo offense.
For sure, definitely does. All right, final headline, Craig. North Gwinnett baseball tops Mill Creek on Jake Gaskell's walk-off double. This 2-run double happened in the bottom of the 7th inning Wednesday. They gave North Gwinnett a 6-5 win and a walk-off win over Mill Creek. North Gwinnett is having a great season. They're 9-1. Also, 3 for 3 for the day was Ian Bicknell, and 2 for 3 outing from Samford Holcomb. Caden Wilson, 1 of 2, and Sam Reardon was 1 of 2 as well with a double and 2 RBIs in the victory. Ben Appleby struck out 4 over 3 innings, allowing 1 run on 1 hit to earn the pitching win. Mill Creek's leading hitters were Daniel Pierce, 204 and a home run, and Caleb Harley, 204 and an RBI.
And then real quick, before we close out the segment, what do you think just overall of Creekside, the girls being able to get it done, cap a perfect season, a big win over Jackson, Atlanta?
We talked about it yesterday, Craig. Just a team that I believe going into the future, they could be really dangerous. They can, establish themselves as a girls basketball powerhouse. What's crazy is, right, Sienna Dennis had 22 points, I think 7 assists in that game. J.C. Mitchell had 14 points. They are both sophomores. So you're going to return back a core of your team that has championship winning experience now. They know what it takes to get it done. They know how to attack the offseason. And now you got a team that's going to potentially be dangerous moving forward.
Yep, Tribe Pride. Great job for the Seminoles getting that victory. All right, don't go anywhere. We will be back on the other side with Coach Jawan Bailey of the Newton Girls program.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career.
All right, welcome back to the Georgia High School Sports Daily. Right now, we will take a look at Saturday's big girls matchup by interviewing Newton head coach Jawan Bailey about the Lady Rams. How's it going, Coach?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Doing well. So I want to ask you just about this season. What's been the thing that's impressed you most with just the way the teams come together in this playoff run?
Yeah, just the growth. At core, we're a really young group. We're mostly sophomores and juniors. And just seeing them from the beginning of the season to where they are now and how they've learned to build really good work habits and play together and chemistry and things like that. We didn't have that at the beginning of the season, but they're starting to really get a hang of it as we move towards the end of postseason. So just really proud of that.
And then you're an Augusta native. You came over, took over this Newton program. Obviously, Newton's been phenomenal just in terms of basketball. What's impressed you just about maybe the operation, the toughness of the type of athletes you have at that school?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that drew me to the job here. Just a very rich area as far as talent goes, and that was able to be seen right off the back. And just wanted to come here and try to do a good job as far as build a culture and a program here, and seeing the fruits of the labor in a pretty good turnaround.
And then you have some contributors on your team that are underclassmen, very young. You probably saw them start to shine last year. What were some of the things you just told them before this season, just preparing for this long journey? And what have you seen from girls like London Smith?
Yeah, so, last year we played 3 freshmen in the starting lineup, for majority of the season. And, one of those kids was not even London Smith. London Smith tore ACL at the beginning of the season and missed 20-something games, I want to say. So, just getting those players on the side of her ready and from being thrown in the fire last year as freshmen and now as a really nice sophomore class with London Smith back in the works. Things have just really went well for us with their chemistry and their ability to grow up in a very small amount of time.
And then what have you noticed just with the way the team's kind of gelled on the floor together, the communication, just how they've been able to just come together, really play as a team?
Yeah. I mean, it's a group of kids that enjoy being around each other. They have a lot of fun on and off the court. They have a lot of similarities, and what they've really grown to understand is that, they have this one big goal of winning basketball games that they want to achieve. It's not so much about, my personal accomplishment or my selfish goals. We have this team goal that we want to achieve, and everybody's willing to sacrifice for it and just grow together, as close to that goal as we possibly can.
And then talk just about the schedule this season. I mean, some teams that have made this far, they've had some games that are pretty lopsided, but you guys were challenged pretty much throughout the way. Teams like Archer, obviously South Gwinnett, Grayson in the region who you'll be going up against, and then the playoff run. Just how has that just sharpened the focus week in and week out, day in and day out, just going up against one quality opponent after another?
Absolutely. Just sharpening that iron throughout the season, being very, very intentional about scheduling tough opponents, in the off season. And, we scheduled some good competition and good tournaments for us to play in. And then, we have a region with some of the top teams in the state. So, playing Archer multiple times, playing Grayson multiple times, even teams like Grovetown and South Gwinnett, these are all teams that will get us prepared for playoffs. And I think that's what gave us a little bit of an edge going into these playoff games, knowing that we've competed with some of the best in the state and held our own. So just that iron sharpening.
Yep, and I mean, the last 2 opponents, obviously Buford, North Forsyth, you guys played Norcross right before that, Paulding County in the opening round. Basketball is a game where confidence is very important. What have you seen, just the confidence level from your group in the playoffs, just how they've been able to believe in themselves and use that to go out there and play at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything. Again, these kids are still young at the end of the day, and it's very easy for them to get thrown off of their confidence sometimes. But I think, like you said, just the tough schedule we kind of played throughout the season and being in games where we've been really tested, which, a lot of those games we ended up on the wrong side. We ended up in a losing situation, many times this season. So these young ladies understand not only do I have to compete, but I also have to be able to finish it off. Sometimes you can compete your butt off and still not be on the winning side. And I think all that just plays into where we are now, and we just competed really hard throughout these playoffs, and just things have gone in our favor.
And then walk us through the semifinal win over North Forsyth, just being down at the half, coming out strong, being able to take that lead after the third quarter and start to pull away from it. Was that a situation where the girls kind of knew maybe they didn't play their best in that first half and you were just waiting for them to turn it on?
Yes. We talked about it at half. We had a set game plan that we made and we practiced on. And the girls knew that they got away from it a lot, especially in that second quarter. I think first quarter we did a good job. That second quarter we really got away from our game plan, in which we've done many times this season. So they've heard the speech from me over and over again about, what the game looks like for us when we go away from the things that we've practiced and worked on and that everybody's committed to doing. And we got back to that in the second half and in the third quarter. And basketball is a game of runs. So we were able to string together a few runs that opened the game up for us and eventually just put us in a position to win.
And then what has it been like just to be at Newton this year when obviously the boys are doing tremendous also? You guys usually play one after another. The crowd support's there. The pride in the Newton community is very strong. What's that been like just playing at a place like Newton where there's that support there and kind of that hunger to be able to get it done this year?
Yeah, it's just a great place to be. Newton, the whole entire Newton County supports us, not just the Newton High School community. This is a very rich basketball community, and the boys team and the girls team have been traditionally competitive in the past, and this whole city just gets behind these programs. And this year we're just very, very proud that we can give them something to really rally behind and cheer for, and we just are excited for them to be down there with us and making this on tomorrow.
And then for those who are going to be watching the big game, just talk a little bit about your team, the group of girls, and just what we can expect to see out there.
Yeah, so just a great group of kids. Not only are, we're competing for a state championship, these are kids that are champions in the classroom and in the school as well. We don't have a lot of behavior issues that go on. These kids are mostly AB honor roll students. And then they come out here at the basketball court every day and just work their behinds off to try to get better. That's kind of one of our mottos, just getting better each and every day, not so caught up in the outcome of games, but the actual process of improving from day to day. And you're going to see up-tempo, high-paced basketball, getting up and down the floor, great defensive energy and intensity and effort. And I think we play a fun style of basketball to watch. So for anybody coming down tomorrow, I hope we give you something to cheer and support us behind.
And then one of the things that you guys have really succeeded in this entire season is shooting at the foul line. You guys have been able to be aggressive and convert at a very high percentage. Talk about just that toughness from your group and the physicality and the fearlessness that they play with.
And again, that comes from failure at the beginning of the season. We were absolutely horrible shooting from the free throw line for the first half of the season. We lost the game to Luella in December, where I think we were below 40%, 50 or 40% from the free throw line that night. And it just, again, goes back to the young ladies understanding their weaknesses and things that they can get better at and actually putting the time and the effort to improve in these areas. And it shows up in moments like this where they're meant the most. And again, it's just a result of failure. Failing and learning, and then trying to improve, and it works out to be where we are now.
And then just talk to us, just how close of a bond do you think this team has so far this season? Are they a joy to kind of watch play together, and then obviously hang out off the court?
Absolutely, joy to watch, a joy to coach. We had our last practice early this morning, and, I got a little emotional that this is the last time I'll be able to coach this specific group. We have a great group of seniors. We have 2 sets of sisters on the team, and, a lot of kids that have been friends since they were in grade school. And, it's just a great group to be around, a great group to coach and try to work towards this goal of getting better at basketball. And it has really, really been a fun season. And it comes to an end tomorrow. Regardless if we win or lose, it comes to an end. So just trying to appreciate every moment and minute that I have left with them, and I hope that they're doing the same thing with each other.
Awesome. Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on the show, talking to us about your team. Best of luck in Macon tomorrow. We can't wait to watch it.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for the time.
All right. There you go. Coach Bailey of the Newton Rams will be back on the other side to catch up with Holy Innocents.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
All right, welcome back to the Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613. Before we connect with Coach Nichole Dixon from Holy Innocents, let's go ahead and take a look at Saturday's schedule for the Basketball State Championships. All right, we will start at 11 a.m. This is the Class A Division I girls, Banks County against Fannin County. The boys, Southwest Macon against Best Academy. We will have the wheelchair game between the Houston County Sharks and the Clayton Eagles, the slam dunk contest, and then we'll close it out with Class 6A as Newton has a chance to sweep. You'll see the Newton girls go up against their region rival Grayson, and then the Newton boys squaring off against Wheeler. Both of those are rematches. Obviously, the girls and Grayson are in the same region. They've played 3 times this season. Grayson has won all 3, but they've been very close matchups. And then earlier in the season, Wheeler was able to defeat Newton in a close game. But I feel like we've seen some crazy results in the playoffs, and then playing at Macon, it is always a different type of arena. The feel's a little different with the stands behind the goal, and so we will see who's able to come out. Would be quite an accomplishment for Newton. So let's go ahead and talk about Holy Innocents and what their victories meant earlier this week. Obviously, the boys and girls both won state titles. The girls defeated top-ranked Hebron Christian, and then the boys dominated their matchup against North Cobb Christian. Holy Innocents, in their win, jumped out to a 19-5 lead in the first quarter. They held Hebron Christian to a season-low 39 points in their 57-39 victory. In that game, Stanford commit and McDonald's All-American Haley Swain scored 30 points. She was 10 of 27 shooting to lead them to the victory. She also had a big three-pointer at the buzzer in that first quarter to give them that 19-5 lead, and then they never looked back. I think what's so exciting about Haley Swain being able to get her team to the state title this year is obviously she's the best top-ranked girls player in the state, but they've come up really short. Holy Innocents is their first state title since 2020, and they are a team that has made the semifinals 12 of 13 of the last year. So 12 of the last 13 years. They've been very close, and you have a player like Haley Swain that's trying to be able to lead that team to the state title, and then she does it her final year as a senior with a huge performance against the 2-time defending state champ, Hebron Christian Golden Lions. So a huge victory for them and a huge accomplishment. Coach Dixon also got her 200th career win. I believe that was in November of this season in 2024. So she got the 200th win this season, hit that mile mark, and now has led to the program's 5th state title. Also in that game, the Lions, I thought this was an interesting stat. When you look at Hebron Christian, a team that has been so explosive this year, was held to 0 of 19 on three-pointers. The defense for Holy Innocents frustrating the entire time. But it looks like we have Coach Dixon right now. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
It's going well. Sorry about that. I'm actually at an athletic director conference too.
Oh, well, thank you so much for hopping on. So, I mean, what an exciting week and exciting week specifically for the Holy Innocents program. Just walk us through what that was like, just being able to win that victory and then see the boys do it too and be one of these rare teams that's able to sweep the titles.
Oh my gosh, it was pretty amazing. With the exception of a couple of upperclassmen, we're made up of a lot of freshmen and sophomores. You know, Haley's a senior. We had 2 other seniors too, Lauren Helmer and Nina Rose Smith. You know, a couple of juniors. So incredible experience from start to finish. Kids really, really bought in. You know, just to see their faces. You know, they knew at the end of last year that were so close, and we ended up short and lost to Hardaway, and devastating loss in the Elite Eight in Columbus. And you know, from that time on, we made it our goal to get to the state championship, and everybody, including our family members, bought into it. So exciting. But I'm really excited too for our boys and just to watch their evolution and their commitment to their team and their coaches has been pretty amazing. So it really was two teams with one dream, and really excited for our boys team as well.
And then you guys started off the game really strong, had that 19-5 lead. What impressed you most? Just the confidence and energy that your girls brought to the table to get that game started.
Absolutely, and they bought in completely to our game plan. And we said that all year long, hey, defense has got to travel, and they bought in. Every player tendency they paid attention to. We had a 32-page scout report prepared, and clips of what they were going to do offensively. Put it in fast draw. The kids studied it. They bought into it. They came to practice every day, locked in and loaded. And then once we get in foul trouble, kid after kid kept coming off the bench and just doing all the little things that we emphasize at a high level. So really just grateful for them for believing and doing the little things the right way.
And you guys have obviously taken that one game at a time mentality, a difficult schedule the entire way. But when you look back at this season and the playoff run, the win over St. Francis, I mean, how special was this season? Obviously, you guys won the state title. You guys had a great performance against Hebron. But when you look at the whole season and the journey you guys went through, how impressive is it to look back on?
It's incredible. It's one of the best feelings in the world to be able to win the last game with your team. But we had a lot of bumps along the way, like everyone does. And we had injuries and kids bouncing back and pushing through. And just to watch our kids grow and really have a next play mentality. We talked about that all the time. We said, hey, don't compare yourself to anyone. Comparison is the thief of joy. Always think next play. And watching young women go from a state of where everything is so heartbreaking and, one missed shot could be devastating, to watch that evolution where they got to a point where they're thinking, hey, next play, let's finish the possession. We got to stop here. Now let's try to get another stop. To watch them grow and mature, it's just the greatest feeling in the world for a coach.
And then you were talking about the scouting report and the game plan. I felt like you guys you really stayed locked in that entire game. Hebron's a team that can obviously make comebacks. They've got tremendous players on their roster. But, I mean, talk about that, just the level of focus the girls had the entire time once they had that lead, just to continue to close it out.
Absolutely. We said, hey, just give us 32 minutes, stay locked in, stay together. And that was one of the biggest things we emphasized, the coaching staff, is whenever we could, huddle up, get together, lots of touches, lots of talking. And we have a phrase we talk to them about all the time, and that's winning people. They talk and they touch. And the more often you do that, the more connected, the more synergy you're going to have. And they really believe that. And the energy from our bench the entire time was just incredible. And I think that helped us, continue to do our thing on the court and continue to, even when the lead was as close as 6, I think, we stayed together. We talked, we touched, and just incredibly proud of them.
And then obviously seeing Haley Sway move on is got to be bittersweet, but she goes out as a champion. Talk just a little bit about what a role model she's been just for the program and then future girls that are going to come through.
Oh my gosh. I've known her since she was a little 4th grader running around, and she's always been a jokester, incredibly kind, sweet. In my mind, a lot of times didn't get enough credit from the state of Georgia, but she handled it with such grace and poise, and it was always about, Coach, whatever we need to do for the team. And I'm just so proud of her. She is a Stanford academic kid. She could go there regardless of basketball. I went with the family on her official visit this year, and the moment I got on the campus, I just thought, wow, like, this is what dreams are made of. And when I met her in the 4th grade, she told me she wanted to go to Stanford, and she made that dream come true, and she wanted to be there, and I can't wait to go support our Cali girl.
You bet. All right, well, Coach, great job. Congratulations on that win. Really appreciate you joining us, and talk later. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Have a good day.
All right, so there goes Coach Dixon. Don't go anywhere. We will be back on the other side to talk to Houston County's head coach.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting 6 figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
All right, welcome back to the Georgia High School Sports Daily. Right now, we'll introduce Jeffrey Martin, Houston County Sharks head coach, to the show. Coach Martin, how's it going?
It's going great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I have a question just about what year did you take over this Houston County program, and what's impressed you most just about the group of kids and just the kind of dynasty they've been able to build?
Okay, I started coaching at the varsity Sharks basketball team last season. And the team as a whole, they continue to grow. They continue to work hard. They love to practice. They love to compete. This year, I do have 3 new players on the team, and they came in with the same enthusiasm and energy to compete and to win.
And then talk to us a little bit about this season, how it's played out, some of the matchups that you guys have been able to play just to get back to this championship stage.
Okay, this season we played a total of 6 games. They played hard in each game. They, of course, they've won every game they played. We've had some good competition between the teams we've played. I have seen kids from other teams who have great potential to compete. But the team as a whole always, because I adjust to what the other people are doing so we can, stay competitive and do our best to win.
Yep, and I've got to imagine being a new player on this team that's had so much success and had players that have been there before, it's got to be tough maybe to bring the new people in, but how have you seen just some of the older players with that experience kind of put some of these younger guys under their wing and teach them how to come together?
Okay, I've seen them because like sometimes if we're practicing, they try to make sure they're where they need to be, and how we run our offense and how we should to work together offensively as well as defensively, where they need to be, and let them know, don't give up. You get a rebound, go back up with it. Don't be hesitant about doing what you're doing, and don't think you have to be stuck and have to pass. If you can't pass, find a way out of it, and keep the ball moving.
And then some of your returning players looks like, is it Anthony Cuddy? Is that how you say it? Cuddy.
Anthony Cuddy.
Anthony Cuddy, and then Caden Nelson. Those are players that played well in last year's victory. Anthony had 16 points. Looks like Caden Nelson put up 7. Talk to us just a little about what it's like coaching them and what they've been able to bring to the program this season.
Coaching them has been great. I enjoy them because you're able to have fun with them. They're always willing to do and try. Coaching them has been great for me because they're just players coming from a person who coached regular basketball to coaching those in wheelchairs. To see them and the enthusiasm they still play with in the chairs, I'm like, man, because even for me, I'm like, this is hard to catch on to, but they do it with confidence every game, every practice with no problem.
And then Macon, it's always exciting seeing you guys out there. That's a bigger atmosphere. You got more fans in the stand. What are you going to just tell the team just before you guys tip off about just playing in this great championship atmosphere?
Well, like I was telling them at practice, most of y'all are used to it. My new people, somewhat used to it because they do have come out to support us the last few years as we played. They know that it's a crowd, and don't let the crowd get in your head. You get out there and play your game. Don't let anything force you to play a game you're not there to play.
And then you guys will be playing a familiar team with the Clayton Eagles. We have the matchup listed right there. You guys met them last season as well. What has maybe impressed you about their program and the challenge they're going to provide?
What we have to do as a team is make sure we don't put ourselves in a position where hopefully we don't have to be behind the three-point line and before we can defend. Because what we try to do, like I say, my team work hard. They're going to put the points up if they possibly can with no problem. I think Clayton has some good players. Like I tell my team, they can all shoot, but my thing is you need to make sure that you have them covered. They do have one player who can shoot some pretty threes, but I'm like, we got to keep him from getting there. So our goal is to keep them from getting to the other side, not by playing good defense.
And then you also, I think, coached the handball team for Houston County. I'm assuming there's probably some multi-sport athletes right there. How did those seasons overlap? Just remind us which one's first, which one's second throughout the year.
They pretty much go the same because the kids still, I think most of them favor maybe basketball because they still want to shoot basketball, even going into the football season. But they are ready, and then because that span from handball to basketball is such a long period in between. Because we finished handball around mid-November, but then it's not to January till we pick basketball up, and then we don't. We try to start practicing depending on what's going on during that time. But it's a wait for them, but they're eager to get back to it, which is good. So when they come back in January, they're ready to go. They're ready to play.
And then you guys will be going for this 4th consecutive title, 12th in program history. It's a lot of trophies you guys have collected over the years. What would another championship mean just for this group of kids, and what Houston County has been able to build?
Well, for this group of kids, because I have 2 seniors this year, and then I have 4 juniors next year that's coming up, going to be seniors. So to win this year and hopefully come back the following year and win for them, I think for them it would be a great success for them, and just give them something to look forward to and build more confidence in what they can do and where they can go from this.
All right. Well, Coach Martin, thank you so much. Best of luck tomorrow against the Clayton Eagles. You guys going for that perfect season, a 12th all-time state title, and another consecutive one. We look forward to watching it. Thank you so much for joining the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So you have it 3 p.m. tomorrow On GPB, you can watch that as House and County goes for the 12th all-time. Should be very exciting. It's a very fun event year in and year out. But we will have one more segment to close it out. This is Jon-Michael Nickerson, Sandy Creek's head basketball coach. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Right now, we will welcome on three-time reigning state champion Jon-Michael Nickerson of Sandy Creek. Coach, how's it going?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So I think it's safe to say, I mean, this is dynasty territory right here. We talked about how rare it is for teams to go back-to-back, but 3 in a row, so tough just with the players you're graduating, the level of competition. I mean, how does it feel just to be able to get that trifecta and get that third straight?
Man, to be honest, it feels absolutely amazing. This is that feeling after when that buzzer sounded was the most exhilarating feeling I have felt in sports, whether I was playing or coaching in my entire lifetime. To be honest, man, even in the summer, like a part of that emotion after the game and post game, just like how emotional I was, it was some pent up energy from just doubters, haters, people in our own community that were saying, I mean, like we've had kids in our own school like betting other kids that we were going to get 30 balled. So, man, it was just a lot of pent up energy, man, just coming out. It was awesome.
That's crazy, yeah. Well, maybe I didn't expect it to be as low scoring, but I knew it was going to be a tough one. I mean, Cedar Grove and Sandy Creek have a lot of history. You guys have faced them in the championship that first year you guys won, and then obviously they've been a region rival. But this year's Cedar Grove team had a lot of talent. a lot of top scorers. Did you expect it to be that big of a defensive struggle, and have you ever coached in a game like that?
I mean, that's what we do as defense. So we hang our hat on holding teams under 50 points a game. When I started watching film, I was pretty sure we could do it. I mean, people see the talent on the paper and they see the stars and stuff, but at the end of the day, man, 4 out of 5 of those kids that did the major playing time for them had played us a lot in region play and in rivalry stuff before. And we had always prevailed. And so we knew a lot about them heading in. So when we really looked at the defensive matchups, and like, even though they had the height on paper and maybe a little bit of like more talent individually, we know defensively matched up like how frustrating it was going to be for them.
And then you talked about just maybe some of the noise around the team this season, people thinking, man, 3 in a row is going to be too tough. Look at these other teams. Look at their star power. I mean, was that chip on your team's shoulder just present throughout the entire year? Did you feel like that was one of the main motivating factors?
To be honest, I felt like during the season and preseason, the chip was not on their shoulders, man. I'm being completely transparent. I was really, really frustrated with our guys a lot during the summer. Preseason, I didn't feel like they were nearly as motivated. And I kept questioning this team whether, like, I'm like, are y'all going to be the team whether this is going to be the team whether the culture drops off completely off the map or like y'all sustain it? And you guys got a lot of questions y'all have to answer. And man, damn, did they do it in a big way?
Certainly. And then walk us through kind of that final possession. Amir Latimer, he's able to split his foul shots, give you that 1-point lead. Cedar Grove has the ball. We saw them try to get that shot off. I think you guys were set up in maybe was it a Najee broke down yesterday. It looks like that 2-3 defense right there. What were you guys expecting just with that much time left, and what the defensive strategy was?
Well, I'm gonna back it up right before that possession, right before Amari hit the free throw. The play was an isolation for Jared to get right, and we wanted to put Kingston Hawkins, man, in a really defensive bind, whether he helps. And we got a great shooter in the corner, so we were trying to put that guy in a bind and give it to our best player and just let him make a one-on-one play. Because at the end of the day, you want to cut out the passing, get it to your best player, and let him make a play. But the two things we did was the two things we emphasized the most offensively every single day. When that was play off 2 feet if you do not have a shot, and Jared did not have a shot, so we pivoted, reversed it out, and then the second thing was make that quick reversal, and that's how you get a bad closeout. And so Antonio made that quick reversal to Latimer, and then Latimer drove the closeout, and he got fouled. And that's the two things we really staple ourselves on in our little spread offense. And it was just beautiful that our last offensive possession was the two things we emphasized every single day, playing off 2 and quick reversals. But defensively, man, that was our first possession. We went zone all season long. So we knew they were drawing up a man play, and we knew they were wanting to get to Manny. And I think just the chess match, the first time out, we came out in man-to-man because I was nervous about it, and I didn't want to lose going zone. And then the second time out, we went strictly zone, and it was easy to see that we were in the zone. And then the third time out, he called. We made it look like man, and then we dropped back into the zone. So we kept making adjustments timeout to timeout.
And then what was?
And that's credit to my staff. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. And then what were some of the words you said just after the game, just knowing how much effort your team had poured out there on the court, just how proud you were of how they executed?
Man, all the emotion after the game, like I said, it was just a lot of pent up emotion, some negative, some positive. But it was just, it wasn't even directed towards media. Like we've had media pick against us. And to be honest, if I was a media member, I would have picked against us too, especially if I haven't watched a lot of Sandy Creek basketball all season. If I would have been watching the defense all season, I may have picked Sandy Creek. But this was more directed towards just like people around and about our community, the ups and downs, the adversity. I can't disclose a lot of stuff, but because we're going to keep it in-house, but there's a lot of things these guys battle with adversity-wise that it made the journey storybook that stuff will never get out, but it ended up being storybook, and you couldn't write a better script for it. But it created a bond amongst those guys in the locker room that will last a lifetime.
And then what was maybe a highlight of this playoff run where you guys were obviously in some real battles, the Cross Creek game, where it's kind of like a reality check where the team was like, man, this is going to be tough. And when you saw them really just kind of get that sober mindset of how much focus it's going to take to lock in.
Well, going back to what I said about how I was frustrated with our team all season, sometimes these guys walk into a winning situation from middle school, and we were already winning. So sometimes you get that sense that they're spoiled of winning, and they're not willing to do what it takes and take the proper steps of winning and being everybody's Super Bowl on a game-to-game basis. We were skipping steps during the regular season. We'd come out in the first quarter and we'd look absolutely terrible. It would take us sometimes an entire half to wake up going into the third quarters. But during the playoffs, you could see a mental edge literally click. In the first quarters, we were jumping on teams in a big way, giving ourselves huge leads, Westover, Cross Creek, and Windsor Forest. And then we would take our foot off the pedal a little bit. And I was worried about us having a killer mentality because we would always let the teams linger instead of really putting our foot on their throats, so to speak. So, we out-rebounded the four toughest opponents each round. Westover, we out-rebounded Windsor, Cross Creek, who was much, much bigger than us, and we out-rebounded Cedar Grove by 1. And I told our guys, I was like, if we out-rebound Cedar Grove, we're going to win the game. And we out-rebounded them by 1, and we won by 1 point. So.
Yep, it doesn't get more exciting than that. And as you mentioned, when that final buzzer came, it was absolutely electric. Senior team being able to get there. And I believe that was the all-time most wins you guys produced in the season with that 29. Is that correct?
That is correct. The 2021 team had 28, and the 2005 team had 28.
Yep, quite a run. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats to your guys, and awesome job on that repeat. Hope you enjoy watching the rest of these finals.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate you guys.
Yep. All right, so there you have it. Well, we will be back on Monday with another episode. Be sure to go to scoreatl.com. We got all your blogs, schedules, and scores right there. We'll see you on Monday.